We are very quickly seeing a sort of fork in the Republican Party where some Republicans are doubling down on Trump. People like Lindsey Graham, who says he's headed down to play golf with Trump in the next week. Kevin McCarthy, who we just spoke about, who despite a angry phone confrontation with Trump on January 6th, flew down to Florida to recruit Trump's help in winning the House back in 2022. You've got those people. But then you have other Republicans who are sometimes overtly, sometimes a little more covertly distancing from Donald Trump. Mitch McConnell was an incredible example of this in his speech moments after the acquittal of Donald Trump in his second impeachment trial this weekend, which we already discussed. Another interesting one is Republican Nikki Haley. Haley was the governor of South Carolina. She later was Donald Trump's ambassador to the United Nations. She's completely abandoning Donald Trump now. And she says Trump, quote, let us down, and that we, quote, shouldn't have followed him. This is arguably the most direct and forceful rebuke of Trump from strictly political figures that worked for Trump. We've seen lots of rebukes from secretaries and folks who had more concrete roles. Trump's former Secretary of State, Trump's former Secretary of Defense, Trump's former National Security Advisor, John Bolton. But this is different when it's Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley's interview with Politico was published going into this weekend, and it's quite stunning. She pulls no punches. Let's look at some quotes. Some of these are from different parts of the interview. She says, quote, he's not going to run for federal office again. I don't think he's going to be in the picture. I don't think he can. He's fallen so far. She says, we need to acknowledge he let us down. He went down a path he shouldn't have, and we shouldn't have followed him, and we shouldn't have listened to him, and we can't let that ever happen again. When I tell you I'm angry, it's an understatement. Mike Pence has been nothing but loyal to that man. He's been nothing but a good friend of that man. I am so disappointed in the fact that despite the loyalty and friendship he had with Mike Pence, that he would do that to him. Like, I'm disgusted by it. And lastly, Nikki Haley saying, I think he's going to find himself further and further isolated. I think his business is suffering at this point. I think he's lost any sort of political viability he was going to have. I think he's lost his social media, which meant the world to him. I mean, I think he's lost the things that really could have kept him moving. Now, I want to repeat once again, this is really important about our analysis of what Nikki Haley and others have been saying. These quotes aren't about realizing Nikki Haley, she gets it now. She really gets it. Not at all. These people are responsible for Trump in various ways. First of all, in general, Republicans for decades radicalized the party more and more so that Trump was then able to run and win in 2016. Never would have been able to win a Democratic primary. But they also worked for him despite knowing this. And this has always been Trump. Nikki went and was ambassador to the United Nations for Trump, despite all the things we knew about Trump. So this is not an analysis of people having an awakening and all of that stuff. And these are good Republicans. This is a story about a Republican Party that is currently pulling itself apart, or maybe is going to pull itself apart. Some newcomers are riding the Trump wave: Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Madison Cawthorn, and others. Some longtimers are just sticking with Trump, like Lindsey Graham. Some longtimers seem to be distancing from Trump, like Mitch McConnell and others. And then you've got people that were never really with Trump. Mitt Romney, okay, yeah, he thought maybe he could be Trump's Secretary of State. He went and had turtle soup and frog's legs with Trump early on, but has basically a distance from Trump years and years ago. Nikki Haley wants a continued political career. She's young. She's only 49 compared to some of these guys in their 70s and 80s. She wants to wash herself of the stink of Trump. So now she's going through this process. And what we're learning here is quite simply, they knew all along what Trump was. They merely pretended not to know when Trump was their ride to notoriety or a position of power or a position of prestige. They are even more immoral than we thought because they weren't even tricked by Trump. If they were really tricked, we could say they're dumb, but they're less immoral. They weren't tricked. They looked away deliberately. They knew all along what it was. And they want, I mean, look at Chris Christie. Remember Chris Christie denouncing Trump endlessly during the primary in which he ran, and Lindsey Graham too, by the way, then standing behind Trump figuratively and literally. Remember the video of Chris Christie standing behind Trump looking like he ate a bad oyster, and saying, yeah, Trump, I'm with Trump. And then eventually Chris Christie starting to make a little more sense on Trump over the last 6 months or so. He knew all along. It was just a calculation. How much power can I grab by attaching myself to what was then the rising star of Trump? They all knew all along, and none of them deserved to be forgiven. But from a practical perspective, it does raise questions about the future of the Republican Party, which we will continue to talk about.